Hi there, Irina. Let's take a look at this first set of essays you've sent us. Schools. Here's what you wrote. It can be opened to a debate whether schools should focus either only on educational purposes or include entertaining activities. For instance, activities such as sports, theater, or any kinds of trips can be considered as entertaining. On one hand, such activities can encourage students to visit schools and perceive it more positively because they would see it as a sociable place to interact with other peers rather than just a monotonous educational purpose. Yet, on the other hand, school's initial purpose, you need an apostrophe here, is to provide young people just with an education so they can get a degree and adapt easier to a future career. Okay, I want to read the whole thing through and then give you some feedback. So far the grammar is accurate, no problems at all, and the vocabulary is also well controlled. So let's move on and then I'll give you some more feedback about that introduction. From an educational perspective, it can be argued that students should visit schools to learn and develop new skills. For example, hard skills such as learning basic math, reading and writing, or soft skills such as teamwork and shaping an individual's sense of identity. Okay, that's not a full paragraph. There's no verb here. So it's really essentially just an extension of the previous sentence. Obviously, considering these factors, additional entertainment definitely does not, you need to write the full word fully out, seem a priority, but it rather appears as a distraction. Okay. However, if schools only consist of sole education, it will not appear to students as exciting and motivating as it could if there was additional time without the and for leisure. Those extra entertainment activities can help students to learn better communication skills as they would be able to meet and interact with new people easier. More easily is the right word here, more easily. Moreover, there is a possibility of getting new skills in art, public speaking, and just general knowledge in different fields. To conclude, it can be identified that schools' first priority is education. However, it should not, again, we write the word fully out, exclude entertainment activities, as some of them may help students to form their individuality and adapt more quickly to social norms. Okay. So here's the good thing. The good thing is that a lot of your grammar is really well controlled. It's accurate. I saw some advanced structures in there, so well done. Also, a lot of the vocabulary was nice. Things like sense of identity, soft skills, hard skills, interact with people. Okay, so there were a variety of expressions and vocabulary that I liked. There are some things about this essay, though, that I really need us to work on together. First of all, I want you to look at your introduction. You've got this really long introduction, and in fact, it is even longer than your body paragraphs. This is something that I want you to avoid in the future. The introduction certainly has a role, okay? And its role can be summarized in a couple of basic things. First of all, it introduces the topic. It rephrases the topic, and it also includes your position. That's it. It's kind of like a first impression, but it has very limited things that it's supposed to do. All right? It needs to rephrase the topic, and it also needs to provide your position. This did a lot more than some of that, but it didn't do the really important thing, which is to present your position. All right, all you did was you told us there was a debate, and you went into some detail about the debate, but really the introduction is not the place where you want to do that. So here, you could have just written the following. It can be open to a debate whether schools should focus either only on educational purposes or include entertaining activities. In my opinion, schools' first priority certainly is education, yet it would be beneficial to students to include entertainment as well. Done. And then you're out of there. And then you can develop all of that information in your body paragraphs. Look at how tiny your body paragraphs were compared to your introduction. All right, this is really where you want to develop. And one of the reasons I can show you as proof that this is where you want to develop is if you look at the band descriptors for task 2, it talks about how you develop your arguments, how you develop your position and the paragraphs, okay? Not the introduction so much. Now, let's talk about how you develop your paragraphs. Let's see. So here I felt like this was just not enough. You were basically trying to argue in that first body paragraph that, you know what, schools really need to be places where we focus on education. There was a lot more you could have said, there was a lot more you should have said. It just felt really brief. So you said that we need to learn hard skills as well as some soft skills, and so there's really no place in education for this. All right, well, explain to me why. You never explained it why. So why is there no place for entertainment here? Why is only education the way to help develop hard and soft skills? So there were a lot of questions here. Okay, reading it, I didn't feel like I had a solid understanding of what you were thinking. I felt like you kind of introduced it, but you left me hanging and you left me with a lot of questions. So I was basically left with a lot of whys. Well, explain to me more. Okay, so I wanted to know why you thought that these things cannot be accomplished with entertainment, but can only be accomplished with hard, kind of classic academic education. Okay? And then here I really felt like there should have been a little more development. So how can entertainment teach us better communication skills? Give me an example, like in what way? Okay? How can entertaining activities teach kids public speaking? Okay? And maybe art. So go into some details. Support your ideas. It's not just enough to present an idea. You really need to support them as well. Okay? So, like I said, while there were some good elements to this essay, there were also some areas that needed to be developed and supported more. Okay? Okay, I finally found my mouse. So now let's take a look at the next essay, which is the enjoyable activity with a child. Okay, it can be not arguable, but argued is the right word here. It can be argued whether children would develop better skills and creativity while doing an enjoyable activity with a parent rather than from general reading. I want you to be careful because it really felt like you copied the prompt word for word. All you really did was just move this while doing an enjoyable activity to the end of the sentence, but that's not enough. You have to use your own language as well. It's not enough just to like copy it from the prompt, okay? So, for example, comma, no S, activities such as playing piano, painting, or acting can develop not only artistic but also discipline and self-expression skills in a child, which can be even more valuable in the future than skills gained from sole reading. Okay, of course, reading can be identified as a primary, I think you mean, not a primer, source of creativity and imagination. However, each child has a different ability and approach to explore and create new ideas. All right, again, this feels a little too much. You didn't have to go into all these examples in this essay, in this introduction. So just stop here, okay, and then just maybe you could have written the last two sentences and that would have been okay. But it was just too much information for your introduction, okay? All right, so moving on. Some children who are inclined to cognitive thinking would probably find reading a better source of creativity, as mainly reading involves logical reasoning and plenty of imagination. Additionally, children who read more in their childhood would adapt more quickly to a school education because they would already have a basic foundation in reading different genre materials. Okay, do you have any sort of statistic to back that up? Do you have any sort of support? How they would adapt more quickly? Give me some evidence of this. Illustrate it. Show me more information rather than just presenting an idea and then moving on to the next one. Okay? So it's this idea of support, an idea of illustrating and backing up and extending your arguments. All right? Because again, it's this little paragraph. There's only 2 sentences to it. So it's certainly not enough to develop this argument. What could you say here? Let's see. I'm going to read it again and see maybe how I can help provide you with some ideas and ways to support this. So, some children who are inclined to cognitive thinking, I don't even know what that means, inclined to cognitive thinking, would probably find reading a better source of creativity, as mainly reading involves logical reasoning and plenty of imagination. For example, Children who read on a regular basis have been found to have much better um, productive skills in terms of communication and writing. They score better on tests that test verbal aptitude and I'm just making stuff up, obviously, so it's not very fluent, but if I was writing it, it'd probably be better. So yeah, you could have just said something like, children who read regularly have been found to be more creative, they write better, they do better in verbal tests, and are shown to also, just be more creative in terms of the arts. Okay, so you could have said stuff like that. Then you said they adapt more quickly to school education. Again, so you could have said that children who read on a regular basis have been shown to score better academically throughout their school career. All right, so again, just highlighting and supporting some of these ideas a little more. Okay, so next, however, children with more artistic abilities, not more of, but more artistic abilities, would prefer doing an enjoyable activity with a parent or teacher. During a given activity, you need an A here, a child would not only get practical satisfaction, but also be able to develop new skills in creative thinking. For example, a child may enjoy constructing a puzzle with family from where he can get inspiration to start painting and even just develop better critical thinking skills. Okay, where are you talking about skills? Can you tell me? You may get inspiration, start painting, or just even how would doing a puzzle help critical thinking skills? Can you go into a little more detail about this? So just even if it might seem really self-explanatory, tell me that the fact that a child works on problem solving and how to put different pieces together and how certain things may fit together, it has been shown to develop critical thinking skills and patience and fortitude and all these things that reading alone doesn't develop because there's no problem involved in reading. You just sit there and you passively read material, whereas figuring out a puzzle requires you to actually actively engage in something. All right, so again, it's just stretching out your ideas a little further and giving a little more meat to them, okay? So, to sum up, it is important to underline that every child has a different approach to developing, ing, better skills and creativity. Of course, reading is counted as a prime source of creative thinking, especially in educational purposes. However, there are plenty of children, we never write kids in IELTS, who develop their optimum skills through doing an enjoyable activity with an adult. Okay, that's lovely. Okay, so I think you probably understand at this point the areas that I want you to work on. Basically, you absolutely need to learn how to support your ideas, how to develop them further, how to really flush them out, and create meaningful paragraphs that leave the reader with an, okay, I understand this writer's viewpoint now. All right? So your writing itself is really nice. The grammar, the vocabulary, all that is well controlled. But what we really have to do now together is work on the essay part of your writing, okay, and how to construct appropriate essays. So let's talk about what your next steps are. Your next steps are, first of all, to correct these essays based on this video correction. Second step is to create an error correction list where you write down the errors that were pointed out to you, and next to each error, write what the corrected version would be. You're going to add to that list with every essay correction you get back from us. The third thing is to write a new set of essays using everything you've been learning both on the course and through these videos, and applying it to your writing, okay? So go ahead and get that started. Let's see if you can be back here in the next day or so with a new set of essays. I'm looking forward to it, so good luck.